welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I'm Anastasia. I'm a Toronto actor, content creator, social media manager. I'm heavily involved in this industry. And if you're returning, welcome, welcome, welcome. Love to you all. I'm so excited to have you here. It is a gorgeous day here in Toronto. And fun fact, I'm doing this video at 8:08 in the morning. I have never done a video this early in the morning. So I wonder if like the sun placement is a little bit different than my typical videos, because I usually do those in the afternoon. But anyways, today's a fun video. I haven't done a fun video in a while. Usually, not that my videos are serious, but like, you know, they're about topics, information. I'm like relaying things to you guys, you know, like making it very, not intense, but just like, you know, like I'm like trying to give you confidence and boost and everything. So this was a requested video to talk about my weirdest moments in auditions or weirdest performances all together. You know what? Let's do it. Let's go down the little rabbit hole and see what we got. And some of them I remembered, but then some I'm like, what else do I have? So I had to like literally go into like my drive that I have, plug it into my computer and sit there and be like, what audition is this? And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, that was a weird audition. I'm like, we're gonna put that one into the list. So let's get started on some weird auditions that I've had in my acting lifetime. This is my first audition that I've ever had. Like, we're fresh out of theater school. Like, I don't know a single thing. And mind you, we've already talked about this, but theater school did not prep us and like teach us anything to get us started. So I didn't really know what to do and how to do. This is a non-union, obviously, because I was non-union when I graduated theater school. It was for a commercial. And this was like without an agent. Like, I found this on my own. Pre-COVID, it was easier to find these auditions on your own, especially because they were all in person. So they were like doing like commercials would do like, I kid you not, a massive cattle call. And so I found this commercial. I don't even remember what this commercial was for. I'm pretty sure it was like soft drink, I think, but I honestly truly can't remember. And I walked in this audition. I was so nervous. Like, I can't even explain to you how nervous I swear to God, I thought I was gonna poop my pants and vomit at the same time. And I've also never seen what it looks like inside an audition room. So like, I was already kind of like really nervous, like seeing the atmosphere when I walked in there. So I like was like, okay, I gotta come up. I stand on the X, obviously, because that's where the X is. Thank God that they have an X. Otherwise I'd be like, where do you want me to go? And you have a reader, and the reader is always behind the camera, and like, they're the ones who are obviously, if you have lines, read the lines for you. They're the ones who are gonna ask you to slate to the camera in the beginning. This guy also like talked very fast, and I was so nervous. So I probably had selective hearing because of my nervousness. And I'm just standing there, and they're like, hi. I'm like, hi. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Anastasia. And they're like, are you ready to get started? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I kind of stand there, and then the reader goes, okay, I need you to slate. But what I thought I heard him say was, I thought he said, are you ready to slay? Because he's asked me, are you ready to slate? And I thought he said, are you ready to slay? And I go, like Beyonce? The whole room just like went silent. The whole room just stared at me, and they were all like, what? No, slate? You know, like your name for us? And they did not find it funny. I was so freaking embarrassed. I can't even explain to you. I'm like, how do you not know where that word is? And I'm like, well, you know what? In my defense, theater school never taught us that. I had no idea what a slate was. Like, I never had to slate, because we don't slate in theater school. So, and mind you, I thought he said slay. So I was like, slay like Beyonce. Anyways, I should have like dropped it to the floor or something, did some sort of cool Beyonce trick. But I did slate after that. I learned what it was right in there. And I bombed that audition. Like, when I mean bombed, like I really bombed it. I was so nervous after what happened that I'm like, I can't even concentrate. Yeah, mind you to say that I'd never booked that audition. I actually don't think I ever went in for casting into that room ever again. I don't think it had anything to do with what happened. Like, obviously I think right after they like, I tried to like probably apply for it, never got an audition. You do want to slay though, guys, okay? You do want to slay the audition. You just don't want to ask slay like Beyonce. So yeah. Well, anyways, that's my first story. I have another story I just remembered. This was when I started doing background. So what happened was COVID hits, and I have been auditioning, but what I realized, I'm like, I have never at that point, like right after theater school, been on a set. And I'm like, I don't really know fully how this works. And so 2018, 2019, I'm auditioning. And then I was like, you know what? I'm like, when COVID hit, I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. And I was sitting there and I was like, well, I've done student films and stuff, but I've never been on like a big professional set, like a full on set. My sister was like, you should do background because you're going to learn a lot on how to work on background. And I was like, that's true. I went and signed up with background agency. One of them was Melissa Lee Talent that I really do recommend. And I'm signed up with them and they are, you know, sending you out for background gigs and whatnot. My first one that they sent me out was the Bradley Cooper movie that was filming here. It's called Nightmare on Alley or Nightmare on Alley Street or something like that. They basically were filming pre-COVID, but then when COVID hit, nothing was allowed to film for like a few months in Ontario. And then once the green light was given to have filming come back, they picked up from where they stopped filming and just continued filming this movie. I come on set and I'm like really like just enamored by everything. Like there is so much going on. There is like people walking here, people yelling here. There's like truck here, truck there. And I looked like a deer in headlights. Like I looked really like, whoa, where am I? What am I doing? I'm like, what's going on? I'm there and I have like never been on the set like this. Like this is a 300-person set. This is a massive Hollywood production. Del Toro is the one who's directing it, but Del Toro couldn't, I think because of COVID, he couldn't be physically in Toronto to direct it. So he's like on Zoom on this big screen. Like, and you kind of can see him if you're near the lead actors, but if not, you can hear him and he's like telling the lead actors what to do. I knew Bradley Cooper was going to be on the set. And if I may say, Bradley Cooper is my celebrity crush. I love him so much. He's so good looking. He's so schmexy. Anyways, and my man knows that he's my celebrity crush. We're all very aware of this. So I was like, oh my God, if Bradley Cooper's going to be on this, this is, oh my God, I'd love to see him in person. This would be amazing. I'm on the set and they put us, we're at a train station. So there's a lot of background performers because they're trying to essentially fill up like 100 people in this train station. And where I was put was actually not too far away from where the camera was going to be filming Bradley Cooper. And I wasn't sure if he was going to be like particularly in this scene. And he walks in. First of all, he's tall as hell. Like I didn't ever realize how goddamn tall this guy is. And I was like, whoa, that is Bradley Cooper. I'm like, this is insane. And he's probably like 10 feet away from me. Like he's not that far. So I'm like in my feelings being like, oh my God, I'm really freaking out. You know how they go on when they're about to start filming, they do sound and then the person says speeding, the other guy says camera, the cameraman says rolling. And then they say background. I have never heard this like ever because on student films, they kind of do it, kind of not, and they don't have background performers, so they don't say background. I thought that because everyone was calling out what their area is, when they said background, I go, present. Yeah, in front of Bradley Cooper, in front of this like massive Hollywood set of 300 people. The woman that was next to me that was paired with me, like looks at me. God bless her. I wish she saved me. She looks at me and she's like, no, that means you start walking. And I was like, oh yeah, we're walking. Okay, we're walking. And I start walking and I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? I'm like, what? And like the third AD is like staring at me being like, are you okay? Like what's happening with you? I cannot believe I just said present after background. Yeah, when Bradley Cooper was there. So now I'm like, if I ever film with Bradley Cooper, I would tell him, I'd be like, listen, I was on the set with you. I don't think you remember me, and thank God. I wouldn't want you to remember me for this. But this was my first interaction with you. And he just stood there staring at me, but I don't know if he was staring at me or he was like in his role and like in his mind somewhere, so he looked like he was like staring at me. But then later on, sometimes they want you to not start from the beginning. They want you to start like 10 seconds in. And I didn't know that you had to like memorize the exact, like if you walk 10 steps this way and then turn left and then 5 steps that way and then turn right, like you would essentially like just keep doing the same thing. Like this is literally how like green I was. And so I just kind of kept like walking. Like I was like, walk here, then walk back, then walk this way and walk back. And then the AD was like, okay guys, we're gonna go about like 20 seconds in. So go to your spots where you were like 20 seconds in when he says the line blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I have no idea where I was 20 seconds in when he says his specific line, because I have not been doing the same routine and the same route for the last like 6 shots. I've been doing my own thing. And I was so like, I was freaking out. I was embarrassed. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm just gonna play. So I just went and placed myself, and I was like, I hope no one's gonna notice that this background performer in the background was like, woo, like party in the back. Needless to say, I don't think I made the cut, because when I watched that specific train scene, I was never in the cut. So I don't know if they watched me and they were like, is that the girl who yelled background like present and then like totally messed up our background? So yeah, so I was never in the shot, which is understandable. I really did not portray myself very well. So after that, guys, I did so much background because I realized, oh girl, oh honey, you have a lot to learn, baby girl. You have a lot to catch up on if you want to be in this industry. So I kid you not, I did background like almost every single day, because you have to remember that during COVID, nothing else was available. And I was a server, and restaurants were not allowed to open for the longest time in the city. So I was like, yeah, sign me up, background. And I was doing gig after gig after gig after gig. And I learned so much. So it's okay to embarrass yourself on set. It will happen. It happens to me, it happens to everybody. And I still probably will embarrass myself, but so it's all good. We've all been there. But those are some of my stories. Another background story. Basically after Bradley Cooper, a week later, I went and got to be BG on Murdoch Mysteries. I don't know what season they were filming on, because they have like 35 seasons. And basically we were supposed to be in a restaurant, and I'm sitting in the restaurant eating a sandwich, drinking coffee with like, I guess like my boyfriend or whatever. And he's sitting with me. And my boyfriend, the guy who was like my boyfriend, was like kind of like not really like, to be honest, professional, like just doing his thing, like would like huff and puff or like get annoyed that we're doing it again. And on my head being like, why are you here if you're so annoyed? I'm like, you know how this is. They're going to do the shot like 8 times. So it was just odd that like I was feeling really kind of weird like vibes. And he, at one point, we're asked to come off set. They reset the shot from a different angle, and they ask us to come back. I'm like, I'm not gonna go searching for my partner. Like, you're a grown man, you know that we're on set. You gotta, come for your part. So I come in and I sit down, and the director's about to start filming, and he looks over at me. He's like, "Were you always sitting there alone?" And I'm like, "No, there was a guy here." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Do you know where your friend is?" And I wanted to make a joke with the director, and I said, well, I'm not sure, but maybe he just doesn't want to be on a date with me anymore. And the director literally is like, anyways, can we find the guy that was here, the BG that was here? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that joke did not land. Maybe you didn't find that one funny. Maybe you just don't want to joke with the BG people, or like with anyone really in general. And I stayed really silent, and I got really awkward because I was just trying to make a funny joke and laugh, or like hee like he's not here, doesn't want to be my date anymore. This guy comes running in, and then this guy's like, why didn't you call me when and I was like, what? I'm like, what do you mean I have to call you? I'm like, we're all sitting in the same like holding area. Like, are you not paying attention? Like, I have my earphones in. Like, when they come in, I'll take them out to be like, oh, are they calling me? So this guy got upset with me that I didn't call him to come back in. And I was like, well, this is nice. This was my first time like hitting a little on set. So not really weird, funny, but just like an interesting perspective I got from this background set, and like seeing things in a different lens. This was actually not my audition. Makita told me that my fiance told me that I should share his audition. So this was for a commercial, and I'm gonna be honest, out of all the auditions that him and I do, commercials are always by far the weirdest ones. It's because there's no animation. So like if you watch the commercial after and you see like burgers flying and persons like, like it makes more sense to what you're doing. But when you don't have any of that and you have to do it in a self-tape, it looks really funny because you don't have like the visual effects and the animation all around you. First of all, the commercial itself, and this is when he was still non-union, so the commercial itself was very like secretive. Like they didn't really want to talk about what it was for. All we knew is that it was for some sort of drink, and that's all it was, but didn't give much detail. And sometimes they won't give you the detail of what the company is, and that's fine. But the commercial itself did not have really any details of what you were doing. The director sends in a video of what the action he wanted the actors to do. And I kid you not, this is the video. You click on the link, the video pops up, the director's there. He's sitting, and then he's like, okay, so this is what I want you to do. And stands up and does this. And both my fiance and I are like, what? Like, I'm like, what is this? Like, why would you be doing this? So we reread the instructions again. We don't get it. We even actually asked ChatGPT, being like, can you help us out? Like, his agent wasn't getting in. We weren't getting in. I even asked my sister, like, I asked my actor. Like, no one was really understanding what this audition was. It was the weirdest, literally weirdest commercial audition we ever had to do. ChatGPT was able to, like, maybe somewhat decipher it and kind of maybe helped us out a little bit. So we started doing it, and like, I kid you not, my fiance's just like, my fiance's tall. He's like over 6 feet, and he's like, says his like line or whatever and does, and then he's like, okay, I think that's it. And we just sent it off. He never booked it. Funny enough, he actually last night told me that he saw that commercial like aired recently. And he was like, you were in a fruit punch like bowl, like at a party. And you were like this because when you walk with the bowl, the drink in the bowl sways. And that's why you're like this. And I'm like, well, shit, like no offense, but like, okay, cool. I get the concept. I'm like, you guys could have explained that. So then we can understand like, why are we doing this? You like look so crazy doing it. Like, it just made no sense and you couldn't understand and you had no information. So I'm like, if you're given a little bit more context of why this is and why you're doing this, then you can understand. And the funny part is that the fact that the director had to send a video of himself doing it is what to me was like, listen, when this has to happen, you know it's weird. You know you're not going to understand it. So yeah. Okay, this is my last story I have. This is like a bit more of a lesson for me, and I want to talk about the story because it's important to know these things and to like know if in your gut and know what your boundaries are, know what you're comfortable and not comfortable with. This is when I was with my previous old agent, and I had an audition that come in for a show that was filming in Toronto, and it's been filming for a while and it's been doing like quite well. And I was asked to film, it was like a day player. I didn't have any lines. It would be to be filmed nude. And like when I mean nude, like 100% front and back, fully nude. And I was new with my agent at the time. And this was also like me kind of being like, I want to impress my agent. And this was like what I don't preach. So I really learned my lesson here. Not that I would never do nude, but for me, nude always has to make sense. Like, why are you nude? Like, why is there so much sexual connotation and conduct going on here? Like, why is the scene super sexualized? Like, it has to make sense to why it is. Basically, what I should have done is, I don't have a problem filming in nude, and I don't have a problem doing anything that's like a sexual scene, but to me, it has to make sense. So this scene in particular was extremely sexual, like hella sexual. And I also have to remember, I have a channel where I have people that are like much younger viewers watching. And I wasn't really thinking about any of this. And I was like, I want to get on this show and I should just do it. And this was so wrong what I was doing and what my thinking was. So I had yes to this audition. And basically the entire scene, you'd only be in this one scene, and it would be you with like a group of other people, obviously doing some very sexual things, and you're all completely naked while doing it. So you understand the picture of what I'm trying to paint here. I don't want to go into detail. And so basically, at first my fiance's like, are you sure you want to say yes to this? Like, you're not even a role. Like, you're literally just coming in. It's like almost as if like background actor vibes a little bit. He's like, are you sure this is like, you want to say yes to this? He's like, think about it. And I was like, yeah, I want to, I'm into it. And he was like, okay. He's like, just don't, cry big tears if you do book it and then you don't want to do it, or you did it and then you regret doing it. He's like, really think about it. I was hesitant, but I kept saying yes. I also was like not in a good mental space at the time, and I was like so desperate to like book something that I was like, I know what I'm doing. Obviously, when you film nude, you're not actually nude. You have to wear like super tight fitting clothes so they could see like the silhouette and the outline of your body type. And so I did that, and I had to on camera do like kind of 50% of like the sexual things I'd actually be doing in the scene. And it was just like really awkward and weird and uncomfortable. And I just kind of felt really like, what is happening here? Like, this is just like, why am I doing this? I had a really hard time connecting with it because it was just so odd, and like doing all these sexual things for a self-tape, like obviously simulated and whatnot. And you're gonna be naked, but you're not naked in it. Anyways, and I just was like, I should have stopped and been like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. This is not a good idea. I'm not down for it. I should say no. I did it. I sent it off. Thank God I did not book it. Thank God. Because after I sent it off, I thought about it for days and I was like, no, you know what? This was not my boundary. I don't want to do this kind of stuff as of yet. I'm not ready for it. And I should have told my agent like, hey, I'm going to regret this audition because I don't want to film nude or anything like super, super sexual. And I didn't. So I learned my lesson here like severely, because you got to be careful with this kind of stuff, because once you do it, it's really out there. And I've known actors who filmed a lot of nude stuff and later on kind of regretted it, because then all you remember are these nude scenes that they did. And these nude scenes, like I said, this was not a lead role. Like this was literally, I had no lines. I would just be for this one scene for this group thing. And then that's it. I'd never be used again. And I'm like, I just don't know if it's worth for me filming nude and doing something like super sexual for that. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't be equivalent for me. So after that, I was like, we're gonna make this boundary and we're gonna make sure we don't cross this boundary. And now with my new agent, he is fully aware of what my situation is, like what, like I would do nude, not do nude. Like if there's a lead role and I have to be topless or whatever, I'm fine with it because it's a lead role, like, and it makes sense to the scene. And you know, it's not like I'm walking around in every scene topless, right? So that's like totally different. That's my personal opinion. I have met actors who feel totally different. Like they're like, nope, I'm into it. Like I said, I have a channel where I have people who are younger watching me and my videos. So I want to also think about that as well. Not that my channel is like a family channel, but still like I have like younger, you know, probably under 18 even as well watching. And so I want to make sure I'm making the right decision. So yeah. Anyways, this was a fun little video going down memory lane about all my auditions, especially going down to all the way to background. Those were good days. Man, background was such a fun time. Highly recommend background if you're looking to get started in the industry and you're like, how does this all work? Anyways, honeys, it's 8:33. I gotta go have breakfast. I have to have my coffee and I have to run to work, to the clinic. So I love you all. I'm gonna see you all next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, honeys.